The calming Fairmont crest has never been real. It has only ever been expertly staged, hidden behind champagne glasses, charity galas, and polite smiles that are rehearsed to perfection. But this time, the storm doesn't come from a messy affair or a stolen power deal. It comes from something far more terrifying. A single, fragile sheet of paper, called a test result, thin enough to fold into a purse, yet heavy enough to crush a woman's future. It's the kind of truth that can turn pride into panic, family into battlefield, and life itself into a brutal negotiation. In the sterile, icy halls of the clinic where every comforting expression feels professionally practiced, Dani walks in like a wildfire that has finally lost all restraint. Something is wrong, not only because the results could destroy her tomorrow, but because in her mind, someone has betrayed her before she even understands what is happening. Dani isn't just facing a health threat, she's facing the unbearable sensation of losing control, being shoved into a corner, being reduced to a case that others get to diagnose, manage, and judge. And the most frightening part is what Dani senses beneath it all, the smell of a secret lingering behind that paper, as if this isn't only about genetics, but about a buried truth inside the Dupree bloodline, one that has been waiting for the right moment to bleed through the surface. Dani confronts Naomi with a rage that has no brakes, so fierce it blurs the line between fear and fury, between pride and pain. In Dani's eyes, Naomi isn't simply the messenger. She's the one holding the knife. Dani looks at her like someone who placed a bomb in her hands and coldly demanded she detonate it herself. Naomi tries to stay calm, but that calmness only drives Dani deeper into madness, because Dani despises silent pity other than she despises the truth. Dani wants denial. She wants Naomi to stumble, to flinch, to give her something, anything to cling to. A crack in the story where she can convince herself it's all a mistake. But Naomi refuses to offer that escape. She delivers the facts with the steady posture of someone who has already weighed the consequences, as if she prepared herself to absorb the full blast. That only convinces Dani that Naomi must be lying, or worse, that Naomi is working with someone, manufacturing this result to control her. Accusations spill out as raw instinct, because if Dani admits the result is real, she must admit her body has betrayed her. Her future is being drained out in real time, and the immortality she once believed she owned was nothing but an expensive illusion that the rich and powerful sell themselves. Naomi understands Dani is terrified. She can see that terror like a fracture running through Dani's armor, but Naomi also knows that if she softens too quickly, Dani will interpret it as proof of manipulation. Naomi has lived long enough around the Duprees to recognize the truth about Fairmont Crest. Trust is rare, and truth is dangerous. She tries to speak rationally, but rationality is the easiest thing to be crushed beneath Dani's emotional collapse. Dani doesn't want analysis. She wants a target. She needs someone to blame, someone to punish, because punishment feels like power and power feels like survival. Naomi, holding the role of the one who brought the test result, becomes the perfect sacrifice. Dani clings to a poisonous idea. If Naomi is lying, then Dani still has a choice. She can deny, attack, reshape reality into something she can control. But if Naomi is telling the truth, Dani is left with only one thing: raw, merciless reality. The knowledge that her life from now on may be ruled by checkups, warnings, and the constant shadow of loss and death hanging above her like a curse. Dani's fury isn't only aimed at Naomi. It is a fury aimed at herself, at her own flesh, at fate for daring to touch a Dupree, as if the family could be wounded like everyone else. Dani was raised to believe that the Duprees do not lose. They do not weaken. They do not allow the world to watch them crumble. But that test result doesn't care about reputation. It doesn't care about money. It doesn't care about powerful women who have walked through heartbreak. It was nothing more than another marble step. All it says is that something dangerous is planted inside Dani's blood, and it can bloom whenever it wants, reducing every plan she's ever made to ashes. Dani feels insulted by it, humiliated, as if the universe itself has dared to claim she is not flawless enough to dominate the game anymore. And yet, Beneath the rage, Dani can see a sliver of truth she refuses to touch. If the result is real, she will have to live inside uncertainty. The days ahead will be filled with examinations, monitoring, cautions, and forced sacrifices she never imagined she would have to make. She will have to look into the mirror and ask whether that body still belongs to her. She will have to consider losing parts of her femininity, losing her sense of invincibility, losing the ability to pretend she's untouchable. Dani will have to accept that some battles cannot be won with power or beauty, they can only be won with endurance. And endurance is what Dani hates most, because endurance requires one devastating admission, that she cannot control everything. Naomi, standing in the line of Dani's fire, cannot remain unaffected. She feels anger at being accused, yes, but also something more complicated, something she would never say out loud. Naomi has seen too many strong women collapse when forced to face the truth of their own bodies. But Dani doesn't collapse with tears. Dani collapses through destruction. She explodes, breaks everything around her, and makes sure everyone else bleeds too, because that is the only way she knows how to prove she's still standing. Naomi wants to protect Dani, but she also understands that in this world, protecting someone like Dani comes at a price. In Fairmont Crest, the one who knows too much is often the first one punished, and hovering above all of it is the name Anita, like a shadow that refuses to leave the room. Anita will not let this unfold naturally. To her, there is no such thing as fate. The Dupree Empire exists because Anita has always kept a backup plan for every disaster. But this disaster comes from within their own blood. Anita will look at the test results not as a tragedy, but as a crisis of legacy and image. If Dani breaks, the Dupree name cracks with her. Anita understands that pain can weaken a person, but it can also make them vicious. And Anita, with her instinct for absolute control, will want to transform this into something manageable, something containable, something that can be spun, guarded, and directed. She won't soothe Dani with ordinary comfort, because Anita knows Dani does not want pity. Anita enters like a general stepping onto a battlefield, assessing damage and planning retaliation. With Dani, Anita may choose a strategy that is cruel but familiar, turning fear into duty. Anita will force Dani to face the hardest choices by making her feel that, if she doesn't act, she will become a liability to the family. Anita may demand secrecy, ordering Dani to keep silent and prevent Nicole or anyone from finding out, at least until Anita can control the narrative. But that approach could push Dani into an even darker place. Dani won't just feel sick, she feel like a project, a threat to be managed. Even in the face of life and death, she will be treated like a piece on the family chessboard, and that realization will ignite her anger all over again. Then comes the cruelest question of all. If the result is real, who can Dani lean on? Dani has always leaned on admiration, intimidation, and the fear she creates in others. She has always been seen as the winner. But illness does not admire anyone. Dani would have to lean on family, the one thing she has always taken for granted. Yet in the Dupree world, family isn't simple love, it's often a political alliance, held together by power. Dani will begin to doubt every glance, every touch, every gesture of care. She will wonder whether they worrying because they love her or because they fear she will disgrace them. That doubt will corrode her day by day, sharpening her cruelty, deepening her hostility, and turning her into something far more dangerous than she was before. Cornered, Dani may do something that shocks everyone. She starts fighting back by attacking the very people who could expose her vulnerability. Dani may spread the idea that Naomi fabricated the result to ruin her, putting Naomi's credibility, position, and even safety at risk inside Fairmont Crest. Dani could poison the room against Naomi, making Naomi the common enemy, so Dani doesn't have to face the truth. It is a toxic reaction, but it's painfully logical for someone in panic. If you can't kill the fear, you destroy the person who delivered it. But by hurting Naomi, Dani also destroys the last thing she truly needs, someone brave enough to tell her the truth. The more Dani wounds Naomi, the more she isolates herself. While Anita strategizes and Naomi absorbs the fallout, Nicole becomes the most dangerous piece when the truth finally reaches her. Nicole is not like Dani. She doesn't fight with reckless explosions. She fights with a calm, so cold it can terrify a room into silence. Nicole understands better than anyone that every secret in the Dupree house carries a price, and if Nicole learns that Dani received the result and kept it from her, Nicole will feel betrayed at the deepest level, not simply because Dani hid a medical crisis, but because Dani withheld a truth that could shake the entire family. Nicole will start asking questions that cut like glass. Who knew first? Who decided without her? Who took control of the story behind her back? Nicole will look at Anita differently, look at Dani with a fury she forces herself to swallow, and look at Naomi as a pawn pushed into a game far bigger than she ever intended to play. When Nicole discovers the truth, she won't explode. She will go silent in a way that feels like a warning. Her heart will tighten with 2 layers of pain. The pain of knowing Dani may be facing a terrifying future, and the pain of realizing this family still cannot learn how to trust each other. Nicole will ache for Dani, but she will also resent her because Dani has turned fear into a weapon. Nicole will resent Anita too, because Anita may have tried to hide the truth to protect the family image, and Nicole will find herself trapped between 2 brutal options: protect Dani by burying the secret deeper, or force Dani to confront reality in order to save her life. But the greatest shock may not be the positive result itself. It may be what the result awakens something darker, more poisonous, more mysterious. If Dani carries a genetic risk, it means it came from somewhere in the bloodline, and once Nicole looks deeper, she may begin to suspect things she never dared to question before. Is there a buried medical history in the Dupree family that was hidden to preserve pride? Did someone suffer before and get erased from the story? Did Anita no longer go and choose silence in order to maintain control? And is Dani truly the only one who will pay the price, or is this only the first signal that the entire dynasty is standing on the edge of an inherited darkness no amount of wealth can ever bribe away? In the aftermath of the confrontation, Dani may spiral into a dangerous imbalance. She's afraid, furious, and drowning in the sense that life itself has betrayed her. And when people are pushed to the edge, they won't always reach for salvation, they reach for destruction. Dani could start sabotaging her most important relationships just to prove she still has power. She could hurt the person who loves her most, simply because she cannot bear being saved. She could choose extreme decisions, impulsive actions, anything that makes her feel alive and in control, even as she quietly burns herself down from the inside out. Naomi cannot escape this vortex either. She may be blamed, isolated, turned into a villain simply for doing the right thing. Naomi will feel bitter because Fairmont Crest always punishes the truth teller. But Naomi will also feel fear because she knows if Dani continues to lose control, this will go far beyond medical results. Dani could drag the entire family into a public crisis, and Naomi will be the first one offered up to be destroyed. And Anita will remain at the center of it all, a chess player who has never accepted defeat. She will try to control Dani with discipline, control Nicole with strategy, and control Naomi with pressure. But sometimes control is the very thing that causes everything to shatter. The harder Anita tries to contain the secret, the more power the secret gains. The more Nicole feels excluded, the more she is likely to strike back. The more Dani is forced to stay strong, the more likely she is to collapse in the most catastrophic, destructive way possible. In the end, Fairmont Crest will witness something more devastating than a scandal, a dynasty being tested by a truth that cannot be bought. Dani is not only facing illness, she is facing the terrifying lesson of living without pretending she is invincible. Nicole is not only facing the need to save her sister, she is facing the need to save the family from its own addiction to silence. Anita is not only confronting a medical crisis, she is confronting the question of whether her power can protect the people she loves, or whether that power is the very thing that destroys them. And Naomi, the person who thought She was simply delivering information, becomes the blade that splits open every illusion. What remains is a question, hanging over the gates of Fairmont Crest like a shadow. When the truth is written into the blood, who will be the first to break, and what will they be willing to destroy just to escape it?